sign-in sheet. You guys can see it back there. Before we get going, I sent out the email, 911's not going to be here. We could scratch them off this, but 911, Dale Blevins said he's having surgery today or something. Oh, shoot. Yeah, I know it. All right. Okay, it's a few minutes after 6. We've still got some coming in. I know Ms. Collins is a couple minutes late, but she'll be here. And of course, welcome everybody to another budget meeting. Happy to see everybody again.
That was much rejoicing.
Yeah. Crowd went wild this week. But welcome. And we're supposed to begin tonight. Let's see if we can move forward. But we're going to have, Ms. Wallace is not going to be with us. That's an issue we can discuss later. But Abby will be keeping the minutes for us, and if you would to call the roll, please.
Willie Campbell,
Here.
Ronnie Trivet,
Here.
Travis Hill,
Here.
Aaron Frazier,
Here.
Patty Woodby, Isaiah Grindstaff,
Here.
Ross Garland,
Here.
Kelly Collins.
Ms. Collins is on her way, so. Number 2 is to adopt the agenda. We can go ahead and we'll take 911 off of there, just scratch them out. We'll let Mr. Future go first when it's his turn. With the exception of 911, any additions, anything we need to add. I'll entertain a motion to accept the agenda as amended. Second. So moved. Mr. Frazier. I second. Second by Mr. Trivet. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, the agenda is accepted. Move on to public comments. Would you like to say anything? Mr. Livingston? Yes, you're on there. We'll let you go.
Let's talk from here. Can you all speak into those microphones so we can hear back here?
We probably can.
It's pretty hard to hear because you're talking to this desk.
Yeah.
Oh, you remember like how it blocks.
You can come sit in the front row if you want to, Roy. Okay,
The three here, the three rows here.
all right, we'll make sure we do that. We'll speak
You do
loud.
that, appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Anyone else, public comments? No, we'll close that. Old business. Thing to discuss. Moving on to new business, we 911. I will mention Matt Haley. I spoke to him today. He reached out to me first of the week and wanted to get on our agenda to speak either Monday night or this one. So I said probably better time now. I think Dale Blevins, their director, he's got some pretty serious health issues, maybe having a surgery this afternoon. And Matt was, I think Dale asked Matt to be there or something, so he will be with them and his family. Dale, don't know exactly the details of the extent of that, but if you want to remember him. Also remember Ray Brad. I don't know too many details on that, or if anybody's heard an update on him. I have, I sent a text message.
He's in the ICU at Johnson City Medical Center. He's still on a ventilator, and they tried to regulate his medications, but he got a little combative with them yesterday, so they had to restrain him. So that's all I know at this point. So they're limited people, obviously, to go into ICU. As soon as I talk to him, Sean, he tells me what's going on.
Right, so let me kind of, don't really know, I mean, surgery went well, but I guess that's just good old Brad coming out on the latter stage, but we're starting to remember him and his family. I got an email from Mr. Bailey. I asked him just to kind of send me some. I think their main concern was the raises. I think there was a question on that. I may have missed that actual part of the meeting at one time, but I think the misconception, maybe they thought, or we thought, the budget committee, that each one of those received a $10,000 bonus for each employee they had, but it was actually 5. I forwarded that email out. I don't know if everybody got that or not, but I'll just go over this real brief. A brief synopsis regarding the bonus issue with our agency, July 2018 through November 2018, Carter County 911 lost 6 employees. Due to higher paying jobs, this amounted to a total of approximately 40 years of service. This was nearly half of our entire staff. Moving on to November 18, Tennessee Emergency 911 Board advised us they do receive excess revenue as they become part of the Tennessee Department of Revenue. A one-time thing would not happen again. These funds were derived from 911 surcharge on cell phones and landline phones. No taxpayer money was used. I assume that's for the $5,000 bonus. Due to extremely detrimental loss of staffing, the Carter County 911 Board decided to pay employees $5,000 bonus in an effort to retain the remaining staff members. Starting pay for 911 telecommunicators of $21,500. Raises given due to this funding not recurring regularly. And summary and description, this one-time bonus, Carter County 911 paid $346,000 towards employee salaries and benefits in FY 17-18, which was supposed to come from local governments. This has been the case for several years in the past. See the packet of information that was provided to the Budget Committee. Thank you all for your help. So, in his behalf, I thought something for me, I'll read it out to you. It takes a year to be extraordinary measures and Mr. Mullins' surgery. So, just keep that in consideration. So thank you for that, and we'll move on to Mr. Hughes in the Parks and Rec, please. We'll make sure that whatever you got there, Taser.
Looks like it does. Good evening. I'm Ken Gooch, Chairman of the Carter County Parks and Rec Board. I want to thank you for being so generous with the budget that we have at this point. But I'm here to make a plea to see if we can get the tractor that we requested. With the chair's permission, one of our members, Eric Anderson, who's a retired Air Force colonel and spent a good part of his career as a budget analyst at the Pentagon, prepared a very comprehensive paper on this tractor. And I'd like to pass out members to the board tonight.
I did send that forwarded on to everybody, should have.
Just to make sure that everybody
Oh, that's fine.
has seen this. The bottom line on this is that if we can obtain this tractor, it's a huge win for the county. It ensures that the Roan Mountain Recreation Foundation can properly maintain Roan Mountain Community Park. Plus, the tractor will have a number of accessories and can be used by any department in the county that needs it. So it removes a real concern that the park has with maintenance. Much of the labor is provided by Roan Mountain Prison. They've been having problems with that, and it looks like it's going to be a continuing problem. Getting this tractor allows them to at least obviate, if not totally remove, that concern. It's not that much money. We ask $30,000, but there's at least that much benefit to the county. And I would say that much benefit almost every year. So if you can see your way clear, we would greatly appreciate it if you could take another look at this. Yes, sir.
No, I don't think any of us really had an issue with you having a tractor. The issue ultimately came down to is the fact that you're not actually a county agency.
Correct.
And insurance and access and other things like that. Because if there's a non-county person towing county property, that can cause serious issues, especially in state size.
If that's a problem, that can be limited to make sure that only county employees would have access to the equipment to take it all the Lone Mountain Community Park grounds. We certainly would have no problems with that.
Brad, would insurance allow non-county employees to use county equipment? I wouldn't think so.
So I mean, it goes beyond just moving it, it's also operating it.
And the upkeep of it.
Well, in that case, probably the best thing to do would be to give the money to the Lone Mountain Recreation Foundation and buy the truck. And then they would agree to allow the county to use it if needed elsewhere. And we have a memorandum of understanding with this organization. They operate the park for us. We've been giving them $3,000 a year to buy mowers. But what they're buying is small, standard lawn tractors. And these are just inadequate to try to mow 27 acres. Let's give them a good tractor with the necessary accessories, and then they will make it available to the county if it's needed anywhere else. We use on any of our parks with the accessories it has to help us with maintenance and also with new construction. And we are in the process of building new parks and getting 2 parks ready to go right now.
And as far as keeping it at the community park, what kind of shed or garage, or what kind of facilities?
They have a concrete block building with a large garage, so it will adequately protect all this equipment. It's all kept locked up. To the best of my knowledge, they've had no problems with that.
Do they have insurance? Would they put insurance on the equipment?
No, all the insurance is provided by the county since it is a county-owned facility.
I meant like on the equipment. If you guys buy it, it wouldn't be our equipment, it's the insurance. That's where, like I know if you guys have insurance on it or not.
That would have to be discussed with the foundation. My guess is no, they would not have the funds to do that.
Who would be responsible for maintenance on it?
The Lone Mountain Recreation Foundation.
And then this said a tractor specifically for mowing, I think there's another.
It has a mowing deck.
attachments.
It has a mowing deck. I believe there's an auger. There's a backhoe. There's a blade. There's a bucket. There's a trailer. Now, all those accessories can be bought individually. So, if worse came to worse, and we had to cut something out, then we would have to do that. The primary usage will be as a mower, but with these other attachments, it's very flexible.
Yeah, I guess it's worked out, MOU or something like that, it could be, if needed it on county property or something like that, it could be available.
Exactly.
Well, the park is county property already, so.
I mean, I'm saying other, Green Ridge Landing, I mean, any other place.
Green Ridge Landing, if the highway department needed it as a backup, they could certainly get it. If the landfill needed it, they could certainly get it. This would be a county asset, whether it was owned by the county or not.
It would be a good question for Josh as far as county employee using non-county owned equipment, as far as any liability or making it harder or whatever.
Right. Understand. And is this recognized in the budget, the 25,000 for contributions from the Parks and Fair Boards? Is that what that is, that number?
25 is for the city.
Okay. What am I looking for?
At the moment.
Okay.
Because
And is this number included in that, in the 100,000? It's not, right?
50,000 operating, 50,000 for the grant.
Any other questions for Mr. Rich for the tractor?
If you consider it, it would be greatly appreciated. It'll be a win for the county.
Yeah, I think at this time, I mean, it's certainly something, I think something we certainly benefit from. There might be just some questions that maybe as far as liability and operational usage.
If you put it in the budget and it turns out it's just not doable, We can always return the money. If we don't have it in the budget, we've got to come back for a special allocation, and I don't want to have to do that.
Yes, sir, Isaiah.
You all do great work, we know this. My question is, you're talking about 2 more parks, and I know that down the pipeline, we're discussing many more parks. How big do you see yourselves being able to handle before we have to create a park?
That's a really good question because of the approach, well, the philosophy that we've taken and the approach that we've taken as a result of that. It's our presumption that the county will not establish a Parks and Rec department with paid employees, which means that anything that we do has to be done in conjunction with volunteer groups that wish to work with us to develop their own parks. So we have a park in Roan Mountain. That park is actually operated under an MOU and a contract with the Roan Mountain Recreation Foundation. Green Bridge Landing in Hampton, that was done with the Appalachian Paddling Enthusiasts, and they're going to operate that park for us. Happy Trails Park, which was developed by the Backcountry Horsemen of East Tennessee. They are going to work on maintaining it, but it is going to actually be part of Roan Mountain Community Park. Gap Creek Park, if we get that going, that will be a joint venture with the city of Elizabeth. And we have proposed, don't know if this is going to happen, but we propose it be run by an independent board appointed by the county and the city. If we have other parks in places like Elk Park, Fish Springs, Watauga, some outside volunteer group will have to agree to be the sponsor of the park and to operate the park with a subsidy from us as we can afford to do it. Now, if in future years that changes, of course, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But for the time being, we are operating on the assumption that we will not have a Parks and Rec department. Does that explain it?
Well, and that kind of goes to my point of, it's just like a tractor. I don't think anybody in this room can deny that why you want a tractor. It's just the leaps and hurdles, I guess, that you can say that we have to go through to try to get a tractor that you all can use, that then the county can use it, but then the county can't use it because of X, Y, and Z, but then you all can't use it if we own it. So that's just what I'm seeing. I know from some of the conversations that we had whenever I was building grounds, that you all have, there's a lot of things that we can do in Carter County. It's just getting to the point, I think, where all these parks you mentioned are owned by the county. It's wonderful for all these groups to come in and run things, but eventually, things happen, and they're not going to be able to, they're going to require more money to be able to run because of whatever may happen, flood damage or whatever may happen. So that's just kind of, it leads me to the whole conversation. Sooner or later, this is an office, sooner or later, we really need to sit down and have a good conversation, especially, with the city, and just kind of see where we really need to go with this. Because sooner or later, it's going to, we're going to not necessarily run out of volunteers, but we don't want to tax our volunteers too hard to keep up a bunch of parks that we're responsible.
That's a good point. It certainly won't hurt my feelings if the decision comes at some future date to establish a Parks and Rec department. That would be a good day as far as I'm concerned. However, given the realities, we are not going to make that presumption.
Well, I understand, and that was not just for you, that was just for me to answer that question, because with the budget process, we get to sit down and take a look at everybody's budget, take a look at what you all are requesting. Like I said, I don't think anybody denies the things that you all are doing. I cut our sheet right here that we went off of whenever we were trying to make a budget. It's just a matter of, we don't want it to get too far out of hand, too quick. But, like I said, that was mainly just to give these guys some ideas, because these, for worse or for better, we're all stuck up there for about 4 years.
Well, we're very much on the same page. We are very aware of the fact that we could get ahead of ourselves. And we're determined not to let that happen. Well, as far as the bureaucratic hurdles that have to be jumped to make sure that this tractor is kosher, they're worth jumping.
Yeah. But once again, like I said, I greatly appreciate all that you've done and all that your board does do. With the fact that you receive basically no, other than this budget, you receive no pay to be on the board, you receive no stipend to be there and take on all this. I greatly appreciate what you're doing.
We appreciate the opportunity because we think it's well worth it.
Well, tell me a little bit, as far as the tractor goes, what its specifications or size, real quick.
Well, actually, the planning department has dug into this and got the quotes on it. It's a small tractor.
Yeah, it's not farm tractor, it got
No,
back tires
no.
like as big as a podium.
No, this is a small tractor, it's a small backhoe. It's a utility, piece of utility equipment. It's not something that you're gonna go out and farm 50 acres with, or mow 50 acres. But it's certainly adequate to do 27 acres and be good and rugged.
Yeah, and I know this speaks of getting the help from, I guess, inmate labor, that that's not, I don't know, maybe coming to an end, or it's not really that excessive.
They've had problems with it, of course, the population up there is changing all the time, and they've had some problems. I think that Eric told us the other night, they only have 85 inmates up there, and that's making it very difficult for them to buy the coolers that they have in the past. So could it end? Yeah, it could possibly. Or it can be cut back so much that it's going to put a real strain on them if they have to get out on long tractors and try to mow that thing.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Gooch? We appreciate you, we know you're working hard.
Yes, sir.
Is the city going to go ahead and go in halves with us on that Cap Creek part?
That is to be negotiated, sir.
Huh?
That is to be negotiated.
Just to be negotiated, I mean, what's your opinion of it? What do you think, your feelings of it?
We are number 6 on their priority list.
Number 6.
Number 6. They want it. They really, really want it. But there are 5 other things that they want a little bit worse. Now, will it happen eventually? Yes, it will happen eventually. Is it going to happen this year? We'll get started this year, I think. The money that you have provided for us provides us with a great negotiating point. The calculation I did the other night is that with this $50,000 and with some grants that we have a realistic expectation of receiving, we're putting up about $130,000 toward the cost of this park before they make any commitment.
Is that what we give you plus the grants?
Yes, sir. Now, I think that is a great negotiating point. I think it's pretty obvious that we really want to do this. I know the Parks and Rec Department in Elizabeth really wants to do it. But it's not up to the Parks and Rec Department. It's up to the City Council. And they have a lot of things on the agenda. Elizabeth, in a sense, has the same sort of problem that we have. They just have too many opportunities as far as outdoor recreation is concerned. So, money is not infinite. If they have the money, they do it. But the fact is, there are other things that have to be done. So, we'll work together, we'll cooperate. I hope we find a way to do this in the very near future.
Another question, where do you find the tractor from?
Ask Chris Shilton. He's the one who has gone out and,
He said no.
No, it's, Mel's what's been handling that all day.
you know where you're going to suppose?
No, I haven't clue.
Okay. Well, Mel can drive a pretty hard person, so I know he's getting the best deal he can.
How much was the tractor do?
We asked for $30,000. I think it came in a little less than that, which might give us the opportunity to buy another accessory.
And if we bought it to the county, we have to bid that out, so.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Then you're talking about price.
Absolutely.
Mr. Ross.
Yes, sir, Mr. Clemens.
What, you talking about using it for a board?
I'm sorry, sir?
You're talking about using this to bow with. What, you save quite a bit of money if you didn't buy the backhoe and the front end with it?
Yes, sir. Each of these accessories can be purchased separately. And depending on what we're given, we will have to decide what accessories we buy. At a minimum, we have to have the mowing deck. we certainly hope that, so that we can do maintenance and we can do construction, and it will make it more usable by the rest of the departments in the county, that we can get enough money to buy those accessories.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Mr. Gooch, we appreciate your time, and we'll get, your budget will be there towards the end, and when we get to that, your return will stick around.
Well, we greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. All right, I guess moving into big business here of the evening. Approve Carter County 2019-2020 budget, tax rate, and appropriations to outside agencies. Really, I guess before we start on that, go over this packet, I think that Mr. was telling me, and Brad, I think they tried to work it out to where all budgets, of course, you got a table of contents there. I think everything's supposed to be kind of on one page, like basically just all together. There's no, you don't have one budget on two separate pages or two budgets kind of back to back with another one, so.
There are fund separated in that.
Okay. What's that exactly? Fund separators?
Yeah,
I mean, like if you got some blank page really, or something, is that to,
Like page 18, and then page 17 follows, when you take those legal pages out, maybe off balance and print it back. So all you have to do is turn a page. It goes 18, 17.
try to follow along, the best we can. I guess, I mean, it's basically, it's up to us to, of course, we've got the budget as presented, but I think with 3% raise to employees, that's how it's been budgeted now, hasn't it, Brad? I guess that's really, before we get going, that's something that we need to figure before we start making the votes on this thing. I guess that's how that would work.
Did we get the final numbers on the health insurance?
we don't have final numbers yet, but it's at least 10%.
At least, and that's what would be included in this right here, right, these numbers.
Right.
Should we go ahead and figure out what the 911 and net rep, see what we're going to have excess before we determine the rates?
Yeah, I mean, normally, I think we've gone with outside agencies first, and we can start with them to see how we'll fund. And from my memory in the past, which is not always that great, I think we've gone just kind of each agency and voted yes or no on that. Yeah, and of course, we can determine that number when it comes to the county budgets. It's either yes or no. We don't really have the authority to change that number at this point. We either say yes, what's presented for this proposed budget, yes, we vote in. If not, I mean, if we don't, we send it back and they have to, refigure or work that out and we present it to us again. So, everybody kind of following along on that, and we're pretty comfortable with moving down the line. Yeah, we'll start with outside agencies, but I think we do, when we get to the general fund, maybe find that number, which percent on the rates is what we need to do. But punch that number in before we make any vote yes or no on these things. So, with that being said, we'll get this out. I guess we'll find outside agencies. Any upfront questions or? Yeah. Take your time. Ready, another one? All right. Go. All right, I'll just kind of go down the list, volunteer fire departments, and I'll read off. Of course, we're looking at the adjusted request for 19 and 20. And then, it would be motion second, and we'll just discuss that and make our decision. So, here we go. First item, volunteer fire departments, adjusted request $420,000. Of course, everything's been presented to us. There's nobody else will come and talk to us, so it's up to us. So here we go. $420,000.
I'll make a motion to accept.
I'll second.
You're keeping up, do I need to say, get those on here?
If you can at least call out who motioned and seconded for me.
All right, got a motion by Mr. Hill, second by Mr. Frazier. Any discussion? Mr. Mayor.
I would like to report, I reached out to all the volunteer fire departments, and they all showed up. We got one email out, all 7 showed up, plus it's like 8, they all showed up, we had a great meeting. They're very interested in working together, so.
Yeah.
Just let you guys.
Well, before we make this decision, how's everybody with Butler? Because they're coming up, and as far as Butler Downs, how everybody feels? Is there any discussion on that, or?
In the meeting, they kind of said, Ken said by himself, we included him in, but he wasn't discussed about it. But they were appreciative of 5,000.
All right.
We didn't give them, whatever we give here, that's a big discussion, that's needs and wants, it's all about money, more gear and stuff. So.
Yeah, well, we know that stuff, that it's got to be certified, and it's got to be top shape, for you to be able to use it, and no cost.
I reached out
With those guys.
I reached out first to see they gave me like 3 sheets of grants that they can, that they can file.
Well, that's great. Well, we thank you for doing that, getting those guys together, everybody at the table, so.
1 second, Mayor, will we need to appropriate anything else to match on those grants in the coming year, or is it something that's like 2 years down the road? Or?
Well, some of them you can't get the full grant, some of them are, you don't have to match or 80, 20, some of them are, there's certain ones that I told them to look them over and see, and if they need help. Yeah, well, the first NC development is really good to help with the grants, so some of them are 100%, I mean, you get 100%, there's very, not all of them.
And you do have the firefighter grant, $15,000, actually firefighter grant / grant to get them started immediately, to start the line if they do have a match. So we can always go back to them if they get real, that offer,
Yeah.
real good grant, give them a little more.
Yeah. Good point. Thank you. Any more discussion? None, we got a motion on the floor, and a second. If you'll call a roll, Ms. Fry.
Willie Campbell. Patty Woodby.
Yes.
Ronnie Trivet. Isaiah Grindstaff. Ross Garland. Travis Hill. Aaron Frazier. Kelly Collins. Motion passed.
Next item, Butler Volunteer Fire Department, and $5,000 request.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Frazier, second by Mr. Rogers. Discussion.
There needs to be a really good contract with really good grounds for how we can appropriate funds.
I guess, we don't have that at this time, any contract with those guys, do we?
We can still set it aside for reserve.
Well, you still do it, and they can't receive the funds without going through a contract process anyway, even if it takes them a couple of months. But I'm just saying, there needs to be a really good contract that explains,
Well,
this is how you get your money.
I think that was the issue with, I guess answering these calls once they're dispatched out, and I think that was our main concern, really.
I need to reach out to Josh, Harden on that, or you all want to do that or what on the contract?
Well, I guess we can pass, the budget through, but make sure that that we certainly have a contract before they receive any funding from us.
Ross.
Sir?
I would like to remind you all that you've got a multi-million-dollar project sitting right there by Butler. It's about ready to turn shovel, with probably within the next year, less than a year. The other thing that the mayor has pointed out on a number of occasions, Butler's ISO rating is 5. Roan Mountain's is 10. So obviously, the homes that are up there and what's going to be developed, I would at least give them as much as Johnson County is getting, because they're going to be covering for us up there. There's no way that we can offer, in all good faith, fire protection for the resort at Cove Ridge, any guaranteed response.
And I think 20 is the number that Johnson County is moving down at this point. Yeah, we got a motion on the floor in a second. More discussion on that. All right. You got anything?
My only concern is the documentation that they themselves provide that shows, in my opinion, subpar response times, subpar overall response. I have no issues with giving anybody any money, as far as the fire department or something of that nature, if they can prove that they're going to do the job that we're asking them to do. And I have an issue with that. I've had several volunteer firefighters from several different volunteer fire departments in the county approach me and have a conversation with me about that. I understand that we've got a multi-million-dollar project, and as it stands, that's great. But if they're not going to respond with us just giving them $5,000, they didn't respond necessarily with us giving them $20,000 the first time, then why are we going to throw more money at them and see if they're going to just take a chance at them responding the next time?
Good morning, Travis.
Chairman, my notes from not they did their ISO, and I checked with the Farm Bureau, their ISO is actually rated for 6. We're reevaluating this summer. They themselves said there were 92 calls. The numbers that we got from them, that I was provided 911, was about 30 calls total. So.
And those vary, I mean, as far as response time and on the scene, and all that. What is, as far as proximity of Butler, the volunteer fire department, to this resort, and I guess the closest one that we have, I guess, Little Mill or Hampton.
Somebody stated to me is if the mayor's emergency building gets filled up there, we provide a truck up there through Elk Mills, have it serviced, makes it ready to respond to fires. That's a station within 5 miles of that resort.
Yeah.
Which means they'll still get the low insurance ratings.
How's that coming, Rusty?
That is correct. The substation will be within 5 miles. They're small apartments too. If we have some fixed to cover that resort, they're going to have to come with it. And what we need to do too, give the 911, their 911 needs to communicate with our 911. Because they say they come on calls when they're there, but their 911 knows, but ours doesn't. I don't know. It's going to be communication with our 911 people.
There is a property owner in Butler whose home burnt to the ground, and the response time of Butler Fire Department was not acceptable. Sham number. Larry Sham was devastated.
Yeah.
They did not make it to that fire to save him. So that's right there. That's within minutes. So are they just choosing who to respond to? They let it burn. They didn't get there.
Yeah. They never responded.
The response time was extreme.
Well, I questioned them about that.
Yeah.
They said they all work. That's
Well, yeah, I guess it could be personnel, or maybe people weren't available.
It's just a huge, it's a big risk with them not.
I think Hampton made it before.
Yeah, I think
Hampton makes it go off.
made it before the Butler Fire Department, too, Sham number. I mean, that's.
What's the status of the substation you've got, the work you're doing on the substation?
Well, we just got some trees cut. We just got 4 big trees cut out. We finally got all the hoops jumped through in Atlanta, DC. The building is ours now, so it took forever to jump through all those hoops because it's a federal monster. We had 4 trees cut, the brush was moved logs and brush was removed this week, so we're hoping to, in the next few weeks, maybe start doing a little bit of digging, you know, cutting it down level, getting ready to maybe start moving it up, you know. It's going to be it's going to be a snail's pace, but we're going forward with it now that we've got everything approved, and so we're going forward with it. So it's going to take a while because we're going to try to do it with no tax dollars. It's going to take a while. So we've got a lot of people that said a lot of people promised to volunteer, you know, to help do this, but we'll see when it comes. You know.
Mayor, thank you for doing that. I think it's going to be a great asset to that community. And it may eventually take some tax dollars because.
Well, and it may end up getting volunteers in that area as well that don't want to staff it.
Well, talk with, well, they're going to cross train and stuff like that with the volunteers and stuff. And, but this little lady lives across the street. Every time we go up there, her son, she sends him over there because she's probably in her 80s and she wants to know when we're going to be out there. She said she'd feel better when we do meet somebody up there. Now, we're going to have some tax dollars once we start to man it. We're going to try to do it, set it up without it, but once we can do a one-man crew up there and start with, see what the call volume is, and that will cost some tax dollars. But setting it up, we're going to try not to. But it's moving now. We're going to start moving.
What's the time frame on the resort up there? Any idea of when it may be completed, or Trish, you got any info on that?
Sir.
The resort in Butler,
Look at where it's around the end of June.
end of June, so I mean, probably a year from now. I mean,
Theoretically, yeah, probably
Okay.
late spring.
yeah, so, you know, Butler fought this issue right here, and then actually serving that facility, maybe might have a little time to, you know, see if call responses come up and see if they're, more, I guess, prepared to help us out, so. But we do have a motion on the floor, I do believe. Any more discussion on that? And the motion is to accept $5,000 to Butler Fire Department this Friday.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Patty Woodby,
No.
Ronnie Trivet,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff,
Yes.
Ross Garland,
No?
Travis Hill,
Aye.
Aaron Frazier,
Aye.
Kelly Collins.
Yes.
Motion passes 6-2.
Ms. Brown. Next item, City of Elizabeth Fire Department. They, of course, had no budget last year. What were they asking? Remember, $65,000, I think? Something like that. 59? Yeah, 59. But of course,
Is this Elizabeth and Fire?
Elizabeth Fire Department. This would be funding that zero. So, the board is open.
Oh, I thought something, we just spent 10 minutes on a fire department that's not in our county that we're giving money to. And we're not giving any money to a fire department that is in our county of taxpayers that are paying taxes. Just because they live in the city does not mean that they're not paying county taxes the same as outside the city limits. And I just think this is wrong. I don't know that we need to give them the full amount, but I think we should have given them some. They're paying county taxes the same as everybody else.
And I don't, and that's tough, and, you know, on the other side of that coin, do they fund our volunteer fire departments at all?
No, but they fund a lot of other agencies.
I understand that,
are
I'm
out.
not trying to argue, but, you know, it's a double-edged sword there. I have a hard time really, you know.
I choose to live in the city, and I know that my tax dollars don't go to anything in the city, and that's fine. I didn't send my kids to the county, so. County schools.
I just want that duly noted.
I will say this is not going for general operating, this is going to go at the fire truck tank.
Fire truck payment. Any idea what that payment is, I mean, monthly or anything
So
like
they're
that?
looking around, doing a 10-year note,
Okay.
about $500,000, so we're figuring 50,000 a month, or 50,000 a year plus interest.
And that has to pay that 59 inches.
this also opens, if we go with this, it also potentially opens us up to other city agencies coming and saying, well, hey, we're in the county too, we want money too.
They're already doing that. And again, they're paying the same taxes that the county's paying outside the city district, the city limits, so just want that, make sure that's
I did speak with City Manager Estes, basically said the same thing Mr. Frazier asked, and he said that that would not be the case. This is not going toward operating costs, this is to go to fire truck.
The truck's not lying outside the city.
They, I think, believe they trust you, they do have a mutual aid agreement with the county, they will respond, especially, I know the ladder truck will, they will answer calls, when I work there, we will answer calls in the county if we were dispatched.
If they're dispatched, they're requested, they will respond. And plus, we probably need to renew that every year, the mutual aid agreement, they will respond, if asked. Ladder truck, like ladder truck, varnish guns.
I believe they went to NATO, maybe about last year, I think Lightning hit the gym or something.
They will respond if called, yes, they will.
I think funding a little bit would, help the cause. I mean, countywide, it would be, not be a county piece of equipment, but it would be a new piece of equipment to be used in the county, if needed.
The flip side of that is the county also has an MOU to respond to the city of Elizabeth calls if they are. North American Radio on a great example. And some other things.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It's only zero you see on the list right here.
Johnson City and I think Bristol came back and
And it kind of was brought up real quick, right before we started this, so that's been hard to research and really know exactly how to fund it, but at this point, right now, it's zero, and I guess the floor's open.
I make a motion to leave it at zero.
I'll say that.
That motion by Mr. Grindstaff, second by Ms. Woodby. Motion. You have to leave the funding for the city of Elizabeth Fire Department at zero, no funding. Ms. Fry?
Call the roll.
Yes, ma'am, please.
Willie Campbell.
No.
Patty Woodby.
Yes.
Ronnie Trivet.
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff.
Yes.
Ross Garland.
No.
Travis Hill.
No.
Aaron Frazier.
Yes.
Kelly Collins.
No.
Motion failed, 4-4 tie.
4-4 tie. So we can open up the floor again, or there's a little more discussion, if we want to come to a number on this. Looks like it would like to give a little bit of money.
Yes, Mayor, this response time you're talking about the city, this truck rolling in the county, is that just for churches, major fires, or just home fires, or what are you talking about?
As mostly what we're looking at, passages run on churches, schools, business. But if it was a two-story house or something, and they did get out of trouble, and they were asked, they were doing about it.
I mean, they're all actually pre-dispatched if it is a school.
Yeah.
When I was there, now they can request anywhere else.
Yeah, sure, that's a question, but, schools, I think schools is, I think you're right on schools, and I'm not sure about churches, I know the schools are, but they will respond to ladder truck. Well, they will respond to pumper if needed, but ladder trucks will need most of them in dispatching.
What's the wish of the committee?
One thing to remember is the city has a duty to provide fire services to counties and all. And that's what you pay city taxes for.
I guess I'm gonna make a statement, I may come back and buy it, but if the city closed tomorrow and Elizabeth Law Department, we would run, is that correct?
That's that question, I'd be hard to say, but, if that was the only agency, or well, not agency, but I guess available option, I'm sure, just like.
maybe put some funds aside as they're needing, compensate them for the calls they run on the system.
And then I guess that's an option, I mean, just to put something in, some type of funding. I think they need to use it more for example.
How new is the truck that they're purchasing? How new?
They're going to order this year, is my understanding.
It's a brand new.
Volunteer fire departments have how old are the trucks?
Well, that's what they're doing to replace a one from, I believe 97, I believe they're doing the freight line.
20 years, they're replacing for 20 years.
I wouldn't know as far as volunteer fire department.
Chairman.
Sir?
Just let me interject one item here. When we were at the Blue Hole, cleaning up, you and I had a discussion with Mike Simmerly about after the budget, getting members of the commission, members of council together to talk about issues such as this. Who pays for what? What is the offset? What should the county do? What should the city do? So that we're not poking each other in the eye every time we turn around over issues like this. So Mike and I are certainly wanting to do that. I know the mayor would want to be at that table, and I know Daniel Estes said he would be willing to sit down and talk. So that's just food for thought.
Just refresh my memory, Mayor, there's 6 or 7 volunteer fire departments in the county?
Seven, yes, sir. And I have to consider part of part of it.
Well, if you look at it from a strictly numbers standpoint, it's roughly $1.4 per person in the county. That's what each person, that's what it breaks down to for the folks in the city. So if we flip it over to the same thing, about 15,000 people in the city, it would come up to around $21,000. That would match the funding that would be for the people in the city versus outside the city.
Sir? Mr. James?
I'm not cutting hardly any money off anything, but, you know, I understand, I've got property in the city. I've got real property in the city. And I've got a piece of real property in the city that doesn't have sewer provided to it. And so when I went to speak to the man on that, his response to me was, as I said, when I said I've been paying city taxes all these years and don't have sewer. Well, your city taxes does not affront you sewer, it affronts you a top tier fire department and a police department. So.
I believe sewer falls in the water sewer tax.
It does, it falls under a different fund. So, you know, on this particular piece of property, the taxes are $8,000 a year. What else am I receiving from it? They don't provide me trash service because it's, huh?
You pay $8,000 for that, so wrong.
All right, Mr. James, thank you, everyone's comments on this. We need, I guess, move forward as quick as we can, but as thorough as we can.
Let me say this, Ross, say that. As county commissioners, we're elected to do county business. This falls into the city. This goes to everybody's districts that year. They find out we're spending money inside the city, giving money to different organizations, fire departments, whatever it is. I'm not against it. But you're gonna take the heat of it.
We already are.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm
I
saying.
can name 7 or 8 that we're giving the city. And we should, they pay county and city taxes too. They pay
Choice to
county
move into the city. I think that is, you know, something that's too, my choice to move into
taxes.
town.
That's true, but they're also paying county taxes.
It's a dilemma, really, you know, sharing funding, or funding them, or kind of separate, but.
This is a safety issue too. Some of these nonprofits are not necessarily a safety issues. I think separates it just a little bit.
Who lives in Parks and Rec?
Senior citizens, the library.
But they're not profit. The library is required by state law.
But not, there's no set amount.
Well, they have,
And I'm sure you said
The only other department, actual department that we're paying is city parks and rec.
We're paying the Isaiah housing on there, the Shepherd's Inn is on there, the animal shelter's on there.
Well, the animal shelter is county.
But it's on the city.
Right, as far as the department that we're
The
actually.
city is paying money to the animal shelter.
But other than that, it's city park and rec is the only other actual county, they're actually city department.
We're still giving money to these,
I agree, I understand,
that are in the city, Shepherd's Inn's in the city.
but they also provide services that neither the county nor the city provide. That's what not-for-profits are for.
I understand that, but again, paying the county taxes also.
And they are, and they're paying county taxes for us to help with Shepherd's Inn, and the city chooses to join in with Shepherd's Inn, that's good too. However, we're city parks and rec, you know, they're providing a service that we don't provide. We don't provide a recreation service. But that's a not-for-profit, it's not a city organization, it's not a city office. I agree with you on some of these others, because remember, I guess last year, I made a motion to cut quite a few of these, but that's neither here nor there. I just have an issue with us taking county monies and fully, helping to fund a city department when that's what city taxes are for. We should be doing things to make the whole county better, and that's what not-for-profit organizations are for, to fund, to cover areas that are products and services that the county or the city can't offer or don't offer. Home shelters, advocacy centers, Shepherd's Inn, what they do. We fund the rescue squad, but the rescue squad also gets funding from the city for their calls.
Well, respectfully disagree.
Well, that's fine, that's what we're here for.
Ross, I'm gonna make a motion.
All right,
$10,000.
$10,000, motion on the floor, to fund the Special Fire Department, $10,000, here's second.
I'll second it.
Second by Ms. Collins. I think we've talked about it enough. If they add anything really quick. Ms. Croucher, call the roll, please.
Willie Campbell,
No.
Patty Woodby,
No.
Ronnie Trivet,
No.
Isaiah Grindstaff,
None.
Ross Garland,
Aye.
Travis Hill,
Aye.
Aaron Frazier,
No.
Kelly Collins.
Yes.
Motion failed 3-5.
All right, motion fails. It looks like we're not moving too good on this one. And we go back to what Dr. A said, we did have that conversation. I think if we leave it at zero now, we get together and put our heads together, city and county folks, talk about it, and see where the numbers are at. Come to that point that, hey, maybe we can help them then let's do it. But right now, we're standing at zero. I guess we can entertain another motion.
I make a motion to leave it at zero, pending the outcome of a joint meeting with the city and county.
I'll second that.
A motion by Mr. Grindstaff to fund it at zero with possible future meeting decision made, and second by Ms. Woodby first there.
Can you restate that for me, Isaiah?
A motion to keep the funding level at zero as presented in the budget, pending a joint city-county meeting to discuss funding.
Second by Ms. Woodby. We'll call the roll.
Willie Campbell,
Yes.
Patty Woodby,
Yes.
Ronnie Trivet,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff,
Yes.
Ross Garland, Travis Hill, Aaron Frazier, Kelly Collins.
No.
Motion passed 7-1.
All right, moving on to firefighter grant, budget request, $15,000.
Make a motion, we accept.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Fraser, second by Mr. Grindstaff. Discussion. You call the roll, Ms. Fry?
Give me just a second to get caught up.
Okay, sorry.
This is the firefighter grant?
Yes.
What was the amount?
$15,000.
$15,000. And who made the motion?
Mr. Fraser, and second by Isaiah.
Willie Campbell,
Aye.
Patty Woodby,
Yes.
Ronnie Trivet, Isaiah Grindstaff, Ross Garland, Travis Hill, Aaron Frazier, Kelly Collins, unanimous, motion passed.
Rescue Squad, next item, funding $272,700.
Make a motion to accept.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Frazier. Second by Mr. Grindstaff. Any discussion?
Which one was this one again?
It's Rescue Squad, $272,700. Mr. Frazier, Mr. Grindstaff.
Willie Campbell, Patty Woodby,
Yes.
Ronnie Trivet, Isaiah Grindstaff, Ross Garland, Travis Hill, Aaron Frazier, Kelly Collins,
Yes.
unanimous, motion passed.
Motion carries. Next item, vocational rehab. Funding request $27,809.
27809.
27,809, yes. And that is the same request as last year, or approved request, yes.
Make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Hill, second by Mr. Frazier to accept the 27,809 funding. Any discussion? Call roll whenever you're ready.
Willie Campbell, Patty Woodby,
Yes.
Ronnie Trivet, Isaiah Grindstaff, Ross Garland,
Aye.
Travis Hill, Aaron Frazier, Kelly Collins,
Yes.
unanimous, motion passed.
Shepherd's Inn, $12,000 request.
I'll make that a form of motion.
I'll second.
The motion is to accept the $12,000 funding by Mr. Grindstaff, second by Mr. Frazier. Any discussion?
12,000.
12,000.
Willie Campbell, Patty Woodby,
Yes.
Ronnie Trivet, Isaiah Grindstaff, Ross Garland, Travis Hill, Aaron Frazier, Kelly Collins,
Yes.
unanimous, motion passed.
Motion carries. Children's Advocacy Center, $5,000. Same request as last year, so funding is last year. Your motion is accept.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Trivet, second by Mr. Hill to accept $5,000. Children's Advocacy. Any discussion? Seeing none, do call the roll.
Willie Campbell, Patty Woodby,
Yes.
Ronnie Trivet, Isaiah Grindstaff, Ross Garland, Travis Hill, Aaron Frazier, Kelly Collins,
Yes.
unanimous, motion passed.
Motion carries. Next item, Isaiah 117 House, $5,000 request. This is a new request.
Make a motion we accept.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Frazier, second by Ms. Patty Woodby. Fund at $5,000. Any discussion? Seeing none, if you'll call the roll when you're ready.
Willie Campbell, Patty Woodby,
Yes.
Ronnie Trivet, Isaiah Grindstaff, Ross Garland, Travis Hill, Aaron Frazier, Kelly Collins,
Yes.
unanimous, motion passed.
Next on the list, Assistance and Resources Ministries, funding request $5,000.
Make my motion, please.
So, Mr. Hill made the motion. Second that, Mr. Trivet. Fund ARPA $5,000. Any discussion? See none, roll on. Your time.
Willie Campbell, Patty Woodby,
Yes.
Ronnie Trivet, Isaiah Grindstaff, Ross Garland, Travis Hill, Aaron Frazier, Kelly Collins,
Yes.
unanimous, motion passed.
Patty. Next item, EPSU pathology. Funding request, $113,603.04.
One more time on that figure.
113,603.04. Your motion.
Mr. Chairman.
Sir?
I would like to say, I'm still not happy with this, that's quite a bit of money. And Representative Timothy Hill is taking this to the floor and the actual, that should go, I still think that should go on the sheriff's department and the DA to do the autopsy, scheduled autopsies and stuff. But they did reduce the price after all this stuff. So we went around a little bit, but I'm still not happy with it. I think it's a lot of money. We're doing 67 autopsies last year, and again, we should go under the district attorney and the sheriff's department, that's my opinion, but we need to get a better deal for now anyway. Thank you.
And that request is down $11,078. That amount, 113,603.04, with a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Trivett, here a second.
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Frazier.
Just to point out one thing, average cost of an autopsy runs between $3,000 and $5,000 in the US. So we're doing it, we're getting hit for 60 a year, we're still coming in a little bit under average.
But I think the problem is having to do every single one,
It's the
no matter what. it is.
Yes, oh yeah, I completely agree, and it needs to go on whoever the sheriff is, whoever the district attorney is, they need to have the utmost responsibility in deciding this stuff.
Currently, who makes the decision to the?
Legislation's been, actually my first year, really attempted to intervene. I attempted myself to intervene with the previous mayor on that medical examiner. She's no longer state of Tennessee. Legislation was passed, it's bad legislation in my opinion. And all what needs to happen is it just needs to abolish that legislation is what needs to happen. And put it back to where the sheriff and district attorney make a decision based upon criminal allegations as to whether or not you need an autopsy. There was 27 autopsies the year before this, and it jumped to 62, I believe, the year this went into effect.
This is a required service.
It is a required service.
Is there another option?
If you don't do it with them, then we're gonna have to go to Knoxville, probably.
Yeah, transport body's gonna be a little bit more expensive.
So, well, I mean, hopefully, the legislation will change, something like that, we can, that will change for everybody,
And there is a contract signed already.
So funding is necessary. We had a motion by Mr. Trivett and, make a second.
Mr. Frazier had a second.
Frazier on the second. You'll call the roll.
Willie Campbell. Patty Woodby.
Yes.
Ronnie Trivett. Isaiah Grindstaff. Ross Garland. Travis Hill. Aaron Frazier. Kelly Collins.
Yes.
Unanimous motion passed.
Kids like us, $5,000. Same request as last year. Your motion to accept.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Frazier, second by Mr. Grindstaff. Discussion on this budget. If not, if you'll call the roll, Ms. Fry.
Willie Campbell. Patty Woodby.
Yes.
Ronnie Trivett. Isaiah Grindstaff. Ross Garland. Travis Hill. Aaron Frazier. Kelly Collins.
Yes.
Unanimous motion passed.
Carter County Honor Guard, $10,000 request.
I'll make a motion.
Mr. Hill, second by Mr. Trivett. Discussion on that?
Originally, I think we had decided to set part of it aside when the county just bring us the receipts. Is that how we decided to get this set up?
Let me tell you, I talked to one of them last week, and he's gonna come in, we're gonna talk to Brad and find out exactly what he wants them to bring, you know, so everybody be on the same page.
So this is essentially earmarking the funds for them?
Right.
I think we talked about them bringing receipts in just as they needed the funds or whatever the request is, and giving the money back out.
Mr. Hill, second by Mr. Trivett. If you'll call the roll, please.
Willie Campbell.
Aye.
Patty Woodby.
Yes.
Ronnie Trivet. Isaiah Grindstaff. Ross Garland. Travis Hill. Aaron Frazier. Kelly Collins.
Yes.
Unanimous, motion passed.
Thank you. Move on to Red Cross and a $4,000 request for funding.
Make a motion, we accept.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Frazier, second by Ms. Collins. Any discussion?
That was 4,000.
4,000, yes, ma'am. Mr. Frazier and Ms. Collins.
Willie Campbell.
Aye.
Patty Woodby.
Yes.
Ronnie Trivet. Isaiah Grindstaff. Ross Garland. Travis Hill. Aaron Frazier. Kelly Collins.
Yes.
Unanimous, motion passed.
Next, First Tennessee Human Resource Agency funding request, $30,000, $570. Your motion to accept.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Hill, second by Mr. Grindstaff. Discussion?
What was the amount one more time?
$30,570.
Willie Campbell. Patty Woodby.
Yes.
Ronnie Trivet. Isaiah Grindstaff. Ross Garland. Travis Hill. Aaron Frazier. Kelly Collins.
Yes.
Unanimous, motion passed.
All right, Retired Senior Volunteer Program, funding request $2,000. Motion to accept. Anybody?
I'll say.
Motion by Ms. Woodby, second by Mr. Grindstaff. $2,000 amount. RSVP. Any discussion? Call the roll when you're done.
Willie Campbell. Patty Woodby.
Yes.
Ronnie Trivet. Isaiah Grindstaff. Ross Garland. Travis Hill. Aaron Frazier. Kelly Collins.
Yes.
Unanimous, motion passed.
Next item, Senior Citizen Center, $20,000 funding request.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it, and I checked on the percentage, and it's 65-35, 65 county residents, county residents, 35 city. There was some discussion about that last.
Thank you, Kelly. So, motion by Mr. Grindstaff, second by Ms. Collins. I'd like to fund Senior Citizen Center at $20,000. Discussion on that.
Like I say, I wish we could do more for them. I mean, we are an aging community, and they're going to serve a lot of older citizens. And I don't want to see them struggle, worry about making ends meet.
That is an increase from last year of $6,000, so it's a little bit more, but you're right, we certainly be helping them out as much as we can, but as it stands, $20,000 is the motion. Any other discussion? If not, Ms. Fry?
Willie Campbell.
Yes.
Patty Woodby.
Yes.
Ronnie Trivet. Isaiah Grindstaff. Ross Garland. Travis Hill. Aaron Frazier. Kelly Collins.
Yes.
Unanimous, motion passed.
The next item, Elizabeth and Carter County Library, funding request $75,000. Your motion to accept. So moved.
Second.
By Mr. Hill, second by Ms. Collins. Any discussion?
75,000.
75,000, yes, ma'am. Mr. Hill and Ms. Collins.
Willie Campbell.
Yes.
Patty Woodby.
Yes.
Ronnie Trivet. Isaiah Grindstaff. Ross Garland. Travis Hill. Aaron Frazier. Kelly Collins.
Yes.
Unanimous, motion passed.
Motion passes. City Parks and Rec, next item, $25,000 funding request. Your motion to accept. Anyone? Ms. Collins? Motion by Ms. Collins, second by Mr. Trivett. Any discussion on the matter? And I'm saying about Mr. Hill here, I think this is $25,000. This is an increase, but I'm sure they can use $75,000. So, plenty of,
Mr. Earl,
sir?
since we have a partnership with the City Parks and Rec Department, the Parks and Rec Board would urge you to accept that $25,000. As you know, this has long been a sore point with them. Don't want to get in the middle of that argument, but a lot of county residents do use their parks, which, as has been noted, we really can. So $25,000 is certainly worth it.
Thank you, Mr. Gooch. That's a motion on the floor. Ms. Collins, and who's the second on that? Mr. Trivett, funded at $25,000. You'll call the roll, please.
Willie Campbell. Patty Woodby.
Yes.
Ronnie Trivett. Isaiah Grindstaff. Ross Garland. Travis Hill. Ray Lyon. Aaron Frazier. Kelly Collins.
Yes.
Got to the end of my sheets where I changed the name.
And this, of course, another item, you know, once we can sit down and come together, city and county, this is the number that, you know, maybe we can adjust. Maybe they can adjust some of their numbers. So I think it would be good, you know, benefit both of us, governments to take a look at this at some point in the near future.
I'll say the dirty C word, there probably needs to be some consolidation that goes on between some of these agencies.
Good thing, that's something to consider as well, you know, at the time, so.
I'll have to get a better fight together one time. See this morning.
We'll move on to the next item, the Boys and Girls Club, funding request, $20,000.
I'll make a motion. I'll second.
Motion to accept by Mr. Hill, and a second by Mr. Grindstaff. Discussion? Seeing none, if you'll call the roll, please. $20,000.
Willie Campbell. Patty Woodby.
Yes.
Ronnie Trivett. Isaiah Grindstaff. Ross Garland. Travis Hill. Aaron Frazier. Kelly Collins.
Yes.
Unanimous, motion passed.
Motion carries. Foundation Library, $5,000 funding request.
I make a motion to accept.
Second.
Motion by Ronnie Trivett, second by Kelly Collins. Discussion? Seeing none.
What was the amount on that one again?
$5,000. Mr. Trevor, Ms. Collins, yes.
Willie Campbell. Patty Woodby.
Yes.
Ronnie Trivett. Isaiah Grindstaff. Ross Garland. Travis Hill. Aaron Frazier. Kelly Collins.
Yes.
Unanimous, motion passed.
Thank you. Next item, soil conservation, $32,000.
Make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Hill, second.
Second.
Second by Ms. Woodby. Any discussion?
Yeah, I wanted to say something. They were really trying to get some grants, and that's one reason why they asked for more. And they're not going to be able to get some of those grants.
Yeah, also they're trying to hire another employee as well. We had this discussion in agriculture, Travis made on board. We were good for it, I think the state was good for it. Federal was good for it. Federal, and the state is still, they were undecided, I guess, at the time, but,
I think Kathleen said that soil conservation meeting the other day that they thought they worked out the state.
Okay.
But Mike had said if things go good, they would not spend this money.
Right. Well, they're pretty good group over there, trustworthy, so. We got a motion on the floor to accept $32,000 for soil conservation. Any more discussion? You'll call a roll.
Willie Campbell. Patty Woodby.
Yes.
Ronnie Trivett. Isaiah Grindstaff. Ross Garland. Travis Hill. Aaron Frazier. Kelly Collins.
Yes.
Next item, Department of Agriculture, $1,000.
Make a motion to accept.
Second. Motion by Mr. Frazier, second by Mr. Hill. Discussion? Seeing none.
You said Frazier and Hill.
Frazier and Hill, yes, $1,000. Department of Agriculture.
Willie Campbell. Patty Woodby.
Yes.
Ronnie Trivet. Isaiah Grindstaff. Ross Garland. Travis Hill. Aaron Frazier. Kelly Collins.
Yes.
Unanimous, motion passed.
Thank you. Next item, First Tennessee Development District, funding request $13,262. Your motion to accept. Thank you, Mr. Tribb. Motion by Mr. Tribb, here second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Frazier. Any discussion? None.
Willie Campbell. Patty Woodby.
Yes.
Ronnie Trivet. Isaiah Grindstaff. Ross Garland. Travis Hill. Aaron Frazier. Kelly Collins.
Yes.
Unanimous, motion passed.
And last but not least, Economic Development Net Rep Partnership, funding request $20,000. Your motion to accept.
I'll make a motion to accept 20,000.
Motion by Mr. Hill. Have a second?
I'll say.
I heard Ronnie first. Motion by Mr. Hill, second by Ronnie Trivet. Any discussion?
That's what stated. Commissioner Miller came the other day. He said we didn't have to invest in property. Basically, so we need to focus on entrepreneurs. But like my break point out of the night, we need to stick to this outdoor, the 8 people are here in this outdoor, and that's the reason I say we stick with 20,000. If y'all want to do something else other than 20,000, but kind of fund for economic development or whatever.
Simply a separate decision to make there. I've got mixed emotions. I mean, I'm for them, maybe not funding at the 40. I think the city, their funding is 35. I would be okay with that. I think this is a long-term partnership that we need to stick with. I know we could probably have them on our side a little bit more. I think everybody would agree with that.
I'll make that motion.
No, I think that was Mr. Hill. And, or yeah, you made the second. No, you didn't.
I think there needs to be some accountability.
All right.
I'm still kind of in the court with putting it into the Joint Economic and Community Development Board and having them be the liaison with NetRep to actually get their money that way. That there's a lot more accountability to it because
I think we're ahead of the game and we're not prepared to do what they're trying to offer us to do at this point. We have to produce something for them to produce with us. We don't have, they're willing to help us, but we have to give them something to help us with. And that's kind of why I think we don't really understand kind of what the flow is of how to start that procedure. Kind of how I feel. His presentation did help understand what they're doing, but I agree with Aaron that the joint board that the mayor's on should receive some kind of funding to help our local economy here right now.
I think you're correct. I know that they're just really kind of getting developed. I think we finally got their tax ID number and things so that we could even, in theory, give them money. However, I think that we need to keep in mind there's a regional piece and then there's a local piece.
And I think there's not understanding how to piece those two together with the money and it's just not.
The regional piece, I know the one thing that they're doing with Johnson City is they're looking at changing the name of the Tri-Cities.
Yeah.
Not on top of the outdoor development projects and things that they have going on. That's another big thing. And through them, through our mayor being on that board, I think that helps give us a voice because we are Tri-Cities. We are a component of that. And I think that moving forward, especially if we have our meeting with the city, I think that needs to be a topic of discussion is that Joint Economic Community Development Board about how we can utilize it to its fullest extent and how we can maybe make some of these transitions into where we funnel our economic development money, our tourism monies into them. And then they start moving things forward in collaboration with the city
With-
and Johnson City.
Or with the regional development, we got to start smaller. What we're doing, I think we're up here big and we're just not really utilizing what they have to offer us.
Right. Mr. James, that's all he's saying, go up there.
I mean, I'm really not about giving them money, but, since we got administration change, maybe we ought to try it back this year and see if the mayor's office can't work a little better with him, because I know he kind of looked like they really didn't have a great relationship with the past one, so we ought to try it this year, and if we don't see any better success with Rusty and Abby working with them, then evaluate a little more then, give them another chance, since we've got some better representation for Carter County, and see if they will start trying to, maybe this has opened their eyes a little bit, seeing that, that we're not just gonna hang on without any sort of input. Maybe they'll come and communicate with us like they are with the John Harmon at the city. So.
Yeah. But and on that, I said it the other night, I mean, I think we've got to communicate with them as well. I mean, we can't strictly allow them just to say, hey, here's what we're doing. We've got to say, here's what we've got, or here's what we have presented to them, and see if we can get help from them, Mr. Frazier.
The only thing I've got to say is I just saw a video earlier today on Facebook, Johnson City. They reportedly had $257 million in revenue come through Johnson City and Washington County and in tourism dollars alone. So, I mean, the focus needs to be on us. The focus needs to be on us, focus needs to be on tourism, it needs to be getting different attractions into the county. It also needs to be getting jobs in, entrepreneurship, letting people develop the land that they've got, do things with it. Instead of having to try to get hotels in here, you go to Airbnb site where people you approach it from that side. We're going to be a mountain community, we might as well be a mountain community. But we got to be a good one.
I'll say this, and on Facebook this afternoon, in Washington County, they just signed on a company bringing in supposedly 200 jobs, a German-based corporation. My question is, we want to put our responsibilities in planning office or our mayor's office. Do we have a network to where we can reach out to Germany or China or Japan or anywhere like that? Do we have those kind of resources in our government to where we can do that?
But NetRec is not going to put those jobs in Carter County. They're going to put those jobs in Washington. They're going to put those jobs in Washington County because Washington County has a better infrastructure. And I don't love them for putting it in Washington County.
But does that mean they put 200 jobs there that nobody in Carter County gets any of those jobs?
It doesn't, but it also means that they get all the tax revenue from it, and then, like I said, the majority of people that work in Johnson City spend money on Johnson City.
Quick question.
Yes.
On the regional aspect, when you think of going to Knoxville, do you think it's going to downtown Knoxville, or do you think of the area around Knoxville?
I think of headache, because I drive through that thing at least once a month, and I want it gone.
So one of the things that was mentioned to me, and this actually come from a couple of places, one of the things that was mentioned to me is there's no reason that Carter County can't take building sites that we have that are in the Madison property, things of that nature, and make those nods. Think of Union County. They're quite capable of doing that, and so are we. We haven't done that, and that's been through administration issues and commission issues and things of that nature. We have fully the capability to expand our infrastructure. And I think that with this commission, I think we're actually moving in the right direction. However, I will say, Kingsport's always been bigger than us. Bristol's always been bigger than us. Johnson City is bigger than us. But there's no reason that on the side of that, we can't take, if they're concentrating jobs in Johnson City, they can come to Carter County, they can come to Rome Mountain, they can come to the trails that we have, they can come to the rivers that we have, and they can spend their money in recreation. You talk about the Airbnb and things of that nature, that's the same way we do with Bristol. People come, they spend money, they stay in Carter County, they drive to Bristol. So I think that's one comprehensive look. I think that, it's only going to get better.
And I just wanted to say beside that, is basically what you're saying is we need to become the Pigeon Forge to Knoxville.
I wouldn't say Pigeon Forge.
I don't want it to be Pigeon Forge either, and the tourist trap that it is, but
it's not reference to Knoxville, but There are lots of places, there are lots of places in Knoxville, I have to make the drive fairly often. There are lots of places in Knoxville that are very nice, they're very rural, they have good economic, or good, an economic structure, but they also have good, good outdoors. They have good, I'm looking for the word, it's available, but they have good recreational activities and things that can be done. I just don't think that, I don't agree with Mitch when he stood up here and said, hey, you're not going to any place to market. Right now, technically, we don't really have any place to market because we haven't worked to develop that place. And I think that that's one of the downsides of where we're at. I think that we do have places that can be developed, and I think that we would do a little bit more on the county side to promote those places, like you.
And with the Joint Economic Development Board, what better people to promote our area than the people that live here?
Correct.
And the people that represent our area, they know it the best.
Correct.
We're giving money to someone who doesn't really care about our area, but yet they want to see something happen, but what do they want to see out there? They want us to show them what that we want. But this board is our people.
Correct.
It's our residents, it's the people who live here, work here, they care about this county. And I think that's where the heart of it should be.
I agree. So, and when they get on the feet, I think that'd be great.
Mr. Mayor.
I've talked with them more. Since the budget process, I've been talking with them more in the past 2 weeks, and I have since I've taken office.
Let's say good reason.
I really, it's open, I think it's open their eyes.
Yeah.
And they wouldn't really come through the main office with material. We just, Mr. Communications, I guess, but I told them like yesterday, I had a meeting with them yesterday, and I told them, I said, you need us more than we need you. I said, you don't even have a lake. I said, we got the lake, we got all the beauty, and they said they had boom lake. I said, well, like I said, it's right, you don't have a lake. I said, you need us, but on the other hand, we've got some property, we got land here, but we don't own, so we need, as a county, we need to own something where we can say it's ours and we can sell it or whatever. So now if somebody comes in here, we're going to have to go be like a third party, go out and say, hey, we have to fund this thing. I know it takes money, but we need to get some property of our own. I mean, if it's the massive property or whatever, if we can just buy something and have something to work with, but that's just my suggestion.
Yeah, let me, Mr. Gooch, real quick.
It's all Mr. Gooch.
But it is.
It's not going to do any good. I think battery's dead.
You can yell at it.
Okay, I will speak loudly. In my role as board chairman, I am on the NetRep Outdoor Recreation Advisory Board. And you may know that NetRep hired away the tourism director, the county's tourism director, Kayla Carter, as their director for development of outdoor recreation. There is a recognition within NetRep that Carter County is the crown jewel of this entire region as far as outdoor recreation is concerned. And of the crown jewels, Roan Mountain is the greatest of those crown jewels. There is a recognition that there is something here to be developed, and there is no better place as far as outdoor recreation is concerned than this county. They're going to work on that. They're trying to work on that. I know that because I've been to the meetings and I've seen what they're doing. There is no other place in the Tri-City region, the 8-county region that they are covering, that even begins to compete with us. We have the Appalachian Trail, we have Roan Mountain, we have Watauga Lake, we have the Whitewater Streams, and all of this is of great interest. So support them so they can support the marketing of these opportunities.
Thank you.
And on the communication aspect, Mr. Schutler and I have both now been invited to start attending their bi-weekly meetings.
Very strange what voting zero does.
But I'll tell you, me and the mayor's working on right now running a small industry, and I say small, it's worldwide industry, but it's very small. You know, he stood there and said we had nothing to market. I got 5 different buildings here that's not on any of their lists or anything, and one guy's willing to move his business out to allow this guy to come in and bring more jobs, because he's got another building, he's downsized, and he's ready to retire. So, that's network. But you gotta remember that German-based business was brought to Nashville, which came from DC, which there's a whole lot of things involved in that. You bring them over, your higher officials become U.S. citizens after 5 years. I mean, there's a lot of things involved in that, a lot of costs. That's neither here nor there on that, but
Well, okay, back to the two-way street here, we've got 5 places that's on our radar here. Is that something we don't want to share with NetRec, to where they can help us out with? Pardon?
I'm more than happy to share with them.
Well, I mean, it's up to you guys to do it.
Oh, yeah. We hadn't spoken since, then.
Well, that's,
But you gotta look at that German-based business, I think it's 130 jobs in the next 5 years. I think
I don't know.
That's the, non-deal said that. But anyways, long story short, Washington County, Jonesboro, Johnson City owns that piece of property. These people will come in, they will bring their business, and God bless them, I'm glad they do. And there's gonna be a bunch of people from Carter County, there's a bunch of people that drive through Jonesboro, goes all the way to Walmart's warehouse, goes to U.S. Nitrogen, down all the way on the west side of Greene County. They go there every day. There's a bunch of pipe fitter welders that go down to John Spear, plants every day that leaves here. They go to Asheville, they go to Eastman, they go up into Agnew. I mean, that happens every day. Yeah, it will affect us, and it's $3 million in Carter County. And is it $29,000 worth? I'm sure. Is it $40,000? I'm sure. But you gotta remember, NetRec didn't go out there and grab these people from Germany. Those people from Germany started internationally and came to DC. DC has sent them out to 50 states, and somebody down in Nashville gave them a whole cruise. So that's just the way it goes.
well, and of course, they invested in some property in Washington County years ago, I guess, which we talked about discussing, maybe in the future we need to find something we can invest in, where we got potential in the future for something like that. We've talked about this enough, unless Willie wants to speak. Everybody chat in.
What was the payment to start with, 40,000?
40,000, that's,
We've already got a board, the mayor said, and they can do more than, what the rest of them does. And 2 new ones coming on. Did you say 2 out of the commissioner?
The two from our commission,
Right here's your promotion.
and two from the city council. That's 2 from the city council.
I say give them the $40,000 and let them handle it.
Right now,
They're putting it out there more now than anything.
right now, our Joint Economic Community Development Board cannot accept any funds until we get the new interlocal agreement in place, and then can go back and change our bylaws. Because when it was formed originally, it was set up with 0 funding dollars.
What I'm saying right here's your promotion. They're doing the work. He comes in here and they can't tell us nothing, and like you said, he thinks it's later, that's not it. Can't tell us nothing.
all right, I think we've talked enough. Anybody else? Last.
I was going to state one. Whenever the mayor's board comes on, we do need to start setting some money aside for them to identify properties to purchase, put sewer in, build the infrastructure up. Chris, this goes to you. He said he identified the Madison property. That's an expensive piece of property to buy and to make it site ready, right? I mean, you say millions.
Madison property is kind of, it needs, once the snap-on deal finishes up, everybody says the roof's falling and all that. That is true. There is one section in the warehouse where it did blow in and collapse. That needs to be fixed. I talked to Mr. Madison very often. Matter of fact, we were just texting just a minute ago. So that's something that we done. And then there's a lot of little small companies that can come in here with 10, 12,000 square feet that would be able to go into something like that. This company we're working on bringing this way, they'll have to have some secondary companies around. Then we have a big company that we're getting contemplating with too, and I don't want to talk too much about, but Madison property will probably be where it will go. It is environmentally friendly, you know, there's no, burning, you know, tires in there, like, you know, gas.
I mean, it's something to go back, like I said, with the mayor's group, when it comes about with city and county, we need to start identifying stuff and put money aside to invest in buying these properties and getting them started.
But Travis, the thing about it is, and Sullivan County figured it out real quick, Washington County was right behind them. And when I say Washington County, I'm talking Sullivan County, and I'm talking Kingsport, Bristol, plus city, believe it or not. When they did the Sullivan County Regional Sewer, it started in Beaver Creek and spread out. That's why you got all that that's going on over there. Out on the exits, Bristol spread their sewer has to be regional. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Your infrastructure needs to be regional. Johnson City's already approved, Johnson City's got a lot of sewer in Carter County, especially on the west side of Carter County, that can be utilized. There's properties out there that we could probably buy. But if you buy a piece of property, you're taking a gamble. You start laying pipe in the ground, you're taking a gamble. So you gotta think about that too.
Mr. Jennings.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I'm all about if we want to funnel some money in this economic development board, but let's not forget, we need to pair something up with the city, and we all kind of need to funnel equally here too, because it is represented in the city, it's got city representation. And correct me if I'm wrong, Mayor, but did you not say the city of Johnson City will be on it too? Because they've got certain parts of our county.
They got 600 residents, so they got the mayor, their mayor that sits on the board. City of Watauga has their mayor on the board.
Yeah, so everybody kind of needs to funnel into this, because it's not nothing that we need to funnel money in for them to be promoting the city of Johnson City or city of Elizabethton or the city of Watauga, and all kind of needs to work together.
The state law that requires us to have a joint economic community development board also lays out how it's supposed to be funded, and it's based on whatever percentage of population that municipality holds within the county. So residents of the county that live outside of the municipality would be what the county would have to pay their share for. Johnson City would have a really small share, because like we said, they only have about 600 residents that are Carter County residents but lived in Johnson City. Watauga would have to fund for whatever residents are within their town limits.
And like the city of Watauga right now, you know, this is the first time they've had any liquid money that they could deal with. And you know what did it? It's going to be $1 county store. All that's inside the city limits of Watauga is what is tax base. It's all federal tax base. Makes it fair, all right.
Mr. Burke.
On a related note, there are some funds in the general fund and restricted account for purchase of land that was set up many years ago, what I remember. It seemed like it's 60, 70,000. I mean, that's a good start.
Are we putting money in there, or is it just been sitting there?
It's been there for many years.
Yeah, I mean, that's something we consider happening now on the fund. Okay, we've talked about this, we got a motion, can't remember who, I think
Mr. Hill, second by Mr. Trivett.
Second by Mr. Trivett to fund net revenue. Easy enough. Second by, rescind the second by Mr. Trivett and let Mr. Grice take the second.
Restate your motion.
It's the $20,000 to fund that net revenue economic development partnership.
Ready for roll call?
Yes, ma'am.
Willie Campbell?
No.
Patty Woodby? Ronnie Trivett?
No.
Isaiah Grindstaff?
Yes.
Ross Garland?
No.
Travis Hill?
Yes.
Aaron Frazier?
No.
Kelly Collins?
No.
Motion failed 2-6.
I can't. Know which way that's going, but the floor is open for a motion.
You said that they can't accept fund, the board can't accept funds at the moment, but we could still potentially earmark funds to go to that board to then.
If we did, the way it's set up under state law is the board for JECDB would have to come up with their budget for the year, and then that budget would be divided into the percentages to each of the cities and counties. This late in the process, I don't think we could get Johnson City, Watauga, and City of Elizabeth and into a process.
In the bylaws, it says the four mayors will set, if you have a budget, the four mayors will set the budget. And, but right now, until we dissolve Carter County tomorrow. That's what the process is. They'll be flown out once we resolve them, and we'll have our tax ID number and charter and everything.
If you just make a motion to economic development, not so much net revenue, have it just sitting up there, that you could transfer later.
That was a good question.
What was it, what did you say, Travis? I'm sorry.
If you could just have a line for economic development, not so much net revenue, and just put the money in it, and then
Yeah, Brad,
Well, yeah, I
can
mean,
it be put in a reserve account of some kind until like Carter County tomorrow eventually dissolves and all this is kind of transition?
You could put something in the, regular line item.
Just make it a line item?
Take it off outside agencies.
Make a motion that we remove the $20,000 from the outside agencies and move it into its own line item so we can divvy it out at a later date.
I'll second that.
Like 40. We'll set it for 20 right now.
Talking months or years?
The interlocal agreement will be presented to you guys during the commission meeting on Monday. The City of Elizabethton will have to approve it at 2 different readings. City of Watauga will have 1 reading on it. The City of Johnson City has 3 readings, but they meet every other week, so about a month and a half there. That would be just to alter the interlocal agreement, which would give us the power to go back in and change our bylaws. And then, like I said, the board would set a budget, and then we would have to go back to each of the funding bodies for percentage.
And then Carter County tomorrow, we meet in June. June 10th. So that, I think that we a good meeting now, all that will take place.
Yeah, just a couple of months away.
We've got a motion by Mr. Fraser and a second by Mr. Hill, I do believe.
We have to get these other counties to agree to put their percentage in, or we're not able to put ours in, correct, Debbie? Is that what you're,
That is the way that it's technically written.
so they're done probably in the middle of the budget process also, and they may not want to pull it, they may not have it to pull out of there. So it may be the next budget cycle before they ever decide to do it.
I think we're sending the wrong message by sending it with zero and not following it all, so what? Yeah. No. That's, so that's, no more discussion if we lost Ronnie, didn't we?
Well, while we're waiting on him, your motion was to remove the 20,000 from net trip and set it aside in a line item for economic development.
Yep, and then we can decide if we need to send it to net revenue at a future
Yeah.
time, if whatever else. But if you look at the funding amounts, let's say it's going to be, Johnson City's funding for it would have to be 1% thereabouts of whatever the joint economic board's funding would be. Let's say they opened up the first year with, let's just go with the big figure of $40,000, it's going to be 1%, so it's going to be what? $400?
You're right, it's a very small amount, and I agree they'll probably come up with it, but I also think you're moving $20,000 of our money into an economic development board that is also representing the city of Johnson City because it's in Carter County. They're just like you all. They're sitting right here around the table, but they're sitting at the table for the city of Johnson City most of the time. They're just in this economic development very little. So you're going to have representation for that, for the city of Watauga, for the city of Elizabethton, and all these other people is going to be fighting to drive industry to their region to get the majority of the tax dollars, but we're funding the majority of it.
But as long as it sits within Carter County. So Johnson City can't try to pull it out of Carter County into Washington County.
I can't. All they've got to do is let their constituents know, hey, we're working on this. We need to pull this over.
They would only have 2 votes on the.
Johnson City will have 1,
Okay, they don't have.
City of Watauga will have 1, Carter County will have 2, and the City of Elizabethton will have 2. Plus, we also have the director of TCAT, the Director of Northeast State at Elizabethton. From the financial sector, we have David Laveau from Security Federal Bank. We have Rob Tony from the Elizabethton Electric Department. And we have Mr. Von Cannon representing the industrial sector, and Brenda Lloyd, who is a Greenbelt property owner.
Well, and out of this makes up this board, I don't know every one of them, but who's going to go out and try to promote this and bring it in? I mean, you've got to think of who you've got sitting on this board. Miss Woodby, she more than likely will be on it. Miss Woodby's got a full-time job. She can't go out every day and try to bring those stuff. I'm just saying, you've got the mayor that's essentially that's going to have to be the one to drive behind it and push it most of the time. I'm skeptical about it.
And we've not earmarked it directly for them, we've just earmarked it for economic development.
Well, if you're going to earmark it, my opinion is I think we ought to raise it up to the amount that, whether we decide if we're going to give NetRep more, that way that it's done earmarked and it's in that account, and you've done budgeted it, and then you can decide what to do with it.
Let me hear Isaiah first, real quick. I'll get you else.
No, go ahead, Travis.
I was going to offer a friendly amendment, since I second to Aaron, do 20,000 to Economic Development Live and 20,000 to NetRep, so regional is a part of it.
I accept that.
So it'll be 40,000, 2020
I accept that.
2020.
Did you get that, Miss Sandy? Friendly amendment?
Yeah, she's scribbling. Hang on.
So 20,000 to NetRep, and then another 20,000 in a line for economic development. And then the county could use that, even possibly earmark it towards buying of property or things like that.
Property or whatever they want.
Isaiah?
So, I agree. I think that when our joint economic development board gets up and running and they can accept funds and they figure out exactly how they're going to rewrite their bylaws and they get up and running, I think it'll be great. But they're not to that point yet. And you've had to wait for everything end of the year, maybe-ish, for them to get everything done, new bylaws, new everything. And then you're into next year, budget-wise, you're already at your 6-month mark. So you're going to have to go back to Johnson City, Elizabeth, things to get whatever amount of funding that you're asking for. That worries me, because of that, at that time, I feel better now that, the motion is $20,000 in net rent, $20,000 to the side. I'm okay with that. I feel that it's really important. I think there's 3 tiers. I think you have the regional piece that right now is net. Net rep goes away and we do something else. That's great. We'll talk about that. But right now it's net rep. You have that interlocal piece that represents your county and all the cities that are within your county. That'll be great whenever that gets up and running. And then of course you have what you do at your county level, which is what Chris and the mayor is working on doing. Chris is right. Net rep doesn't know about our 5, 6 places. No one probably knows this county as well as what Chris does. I have no doubts about it. But that worries me. Not funding the regional partnership. Eventually, we may be left out. We may want to be part of the process. We never know.
So with those 3 entities, how do you connect them all? How do you connect them with communication?
Well, that's what the joint economic development is for.
That's where that
You two would be on those, plus your planners on that. Plus, that's why you've got your other individuals. Then you've got, your mayor is going to your net rep piece. They're, from that point, you've got the city of Elizabeth on there, and they're responsible for trying to do the regional piece. Because when it comes regional, you have to get them to the area first. And then, your board here says, hey, come to Carter County. That's where your local piece comes in. Hey, I want you in this into Carter County. I want you in that into Carter County. That's a whole other conversation.
And I agree with Kelly on the communication part of NetRep. They have got to connect far with us. They have got to participate a little bit more, especially if we decide to really bring the joint economic development board on board and with Chris and,
And that's why I'm good with giving them 20 on the board, because I think that they need to step up and they need to prove that, hey, we're going to do, Johnson City gives us more money, Washington County gives us more money, and that's great, but we're going to, we're going to talk to you all like we talk to you. I'm done, sorry.
All right, that's good. I mean, we need to talk about it, that's fine. Anything else? We'll let Abby call the roll.
Willie Campbell.
Yes.
Patty Woodby,
Yes.
Ronnie Tribbett,
Yes.
Isaiah Grindstaff,
Yes.
Ross Garland,
No's.
no,
No's.
Travis Hill,
Yes.
Aaron Frazier,
Yes.
Kelly Collins.
Yes.
Motion passed 7-1.
All right, that gets us through outside agencies. Let's take a 10-minute break, please.
Thank you.